Hello. Here we are. Turn that sound down, honey.
And he's with a friend right now.
All right. So, hopefully, let's see.
All right. Yep, there I am. Yep.
All right. Here we are.
Live chat.
And there's that beautiful view behind us.
Good, you got the whole
Smoky
thing.
Mountains view.
Yeah. Could open the door.
Open the door a little bit here.
That'd be great.
Show a little bit more of the view.
Mm-hmm.
Is that good?
It hasn't cycled to it yet.
Okay.
They're opening it now.
And
it does
there we go. Hi, Nate. Land Cloud Adventures. How are you? We're in the Smoky Mountains, and this is our view. Hi, Carrie.
Okay.
Well, maybe our friend Tony is going to join us. He came in early, and
So, while Joy is working on some extra lighting and bringing us up to date, it's an outstanding week in Pigeon Forge, Sevierville. I got to get back to work this week. I was going to work last week, but I spent the week in at home and relaxing, recovering, and doing real good.
hi, Coaster Mom, Adventures of Scott and Michelle, and Journey Long with Shannon.
I'm a tough guy. I didn't do antibiotics, and I didn't do aspirin after Monday till today. So today I took an aspirin.
Yeah.
So here's a really good thing. This week, we got our lives in the same state we live in. Now, what does that mean? Well, back in 2017 I should say,
Hi, Colleen.
we were moving out of our house. And so I bought I was contractor there, making pretty good money. I was able to go buy one of those 24-foot car hauler trailers, the big white ones. And about $5,000, a little less than that. And I thought, I'm going to go buy this big, huge trailer, and I'm going to pack the house in this big, huge trailer, and we're going to hit the road. Well, I got about 3/4 of the way through that trailer and was only halfway through the house when I realized, uh-oh. So I finished stuffing that trailer to the gills, and I started looking, and wouldn't you know, I went on Craigslist, and Craigslist has auctions for things, and so I put in for a trailer, and I started bidding on a trailer, and wouldn't you know, I really got blessed, because this guy had a 36-foot bumper hitch trailer with triple axles, 20,000 pounds. It was a 2-car hauler, so it was a big white box with 3 tires on each side, and he paid like $17,000 for it. But in the auction, when it came to the last day, he kind of hinted that it was getting close to the number he would take. So I bumped it up again, and he took it. So I only paid a little over $7,000. It was only 1 year old, and he had only used it once. Perfect shape. Oh my goodness, awesome. So I went and got that trailer, and I thought, well, we'll fill this up, and then we'll put the car in it, and then we'll pull the trailer and the car behind the, something else. And oh no, we chalked it front to back, top to bottom, all the way full. So we had a 36 full, and then everything else we just kind of burned or threw away. Or gave away.
Gave away. Yeah, we didn't
Yeah,
sell
we had a
anything.
bedroom suit we gave away, and we had a shed we gave away, which I regret. And so anyhow,
yeah, I could have used the shed here.
2 years later. So then 1 year later, what was about early 20 March 2018, I took the trailer up to Alabama, the short one, and then in the end of 2019, I took the big trailer up to Alabama, and they've both been sitting on a farm in Alabama of some friends of ours. And
but her mama is in her 90s.
Yep.
Living there, and they were. She just started to get a little worried this last several months because of the storms. The storms seem to increase in the area. Last year they seem to have quite a few, and then this year they seem to have quite a few. So she started getting worried about our trailers getting damaged. So it was helpful to her to move them away and move
So
them
they wanted
out
that
of
done
her
like that, and
out of her sight.
honestly, they saw us pray the storms away.
Right.
They saw us, and we showed it on radar how the clouds would go around.
Yeah, there's actually there's actually a testimony of where we prayed no damage for our property and for their property, and the only thing that happened to theirs was there was a really old carport building right next to
Out of the way.
our two trailers, and the poles at the bottom were completely rotten, so the wind kind of just blew it sideways because it was so rotten.
It went from a carport to a lean-to.
It was.
And it leaned to our trailers.
And it came within about an
4
inch.
Yeah, about 4 inches away.
Yeah, they said it was like an inch.
Well, it was an inch, but then he pushed it back. He took his tractor and
Yeah.
hooked up to it and pulled it back, and then he put some wedges in the ground
Yeah.
by the posts, and so it stood a little straighter.
So
And
God
so
literally.
they were glad to see it go
God
because they didn't want our
literally
trailer to get hurt. Unfortunately, the problem is that roof drained towards the trailer, so the lights on that side of the trailer don't come on anymore. They must have gotten waterlogged or something. So I've have to fix that. But we've got our lives on the campground in the same state, and that feels so good. It's like we're ready for the next step. We've got everything together. And so 2 people in the campground helped me go get them. I rented a 1-ton truck from Enterprise, and I would like to say thumbs up to Enterprise. They are good people, and it was a good truck, and it was a fair price, and everything went well. And they even gave me military discount.
I just want to say that we actually have a picture that they took of where the carport was about an inch away from our trailer, and that's just a testimony that your prayers, what you pray and what you speak out of your mouth, God can really bring them to pass. God did that within an inch. It didn't even touch our trailer. So that's the testimony right there. And then the other part of the testimony, of course, is that, he injured his hands on that, and you can show them
Got my
how
hand.
it's still bandaged up. He's in the healing process. It's still sore. He stopped taking all that. He only took it one day, and then he was doing too much with this left hand, and he wouldn't listen to me. I kept saying, "Don't use that hand. It needs to heal."
It's hard to break the habit. You have to really realize just how much you use your hands. I mean, I had to use my pinky finger to put my pants on. Who does that? It's like now I'm on the phone.
It's like he's a workaholic. He just couldn't rest. He's like I need. He was like, I need you to come outside and walk around with me. He was supposed to not do anything, but he couldn't even just like lay around for a day or 24 hours.
Walk the dog. Gotta walk the dog. Gotta do something. My brain, my body was like, I gotta do something. And that's only some of the easy parts, because we had
Got a whole hour.
On Friday. So I rented the truck to go get it on Friday, and I had my neighbor just down the way say that he would drive it, and because he had you have to have a major credit card. He had a major credit card, and so I paid him back for that, and he rented it and got the extra insurance and everything. I mean, you just cover yourself. And we went and got the first smaller trailer with the 1-ton.
Okay, let's say hi to some people.
And it was awesome. Great trip. We got to know each other and spend a lot of time talking, and
I want a part of that testimony, so wait, hold on.
Okay.
We need to say hi to some people. Hi, Terry Ward, Shebna, Kicking It Country Vlogs, Lisa, Griswold Family Vacay, Adventures That Rock,
Griswold, I know that name from those movies.
Virginia. Let's see.
Colleen, thank you, Colleen, for your thoughts and
Marilyn
prayers
from
this week.
Kentucky.
Mm.
Loggy Doggy and Scott Shaver. Let's see. Okay, now we say hello. So, because he hurt his hand, I did not want him to drive because I felt like it wouldn't heal correctly or well or something, and he uses his hands a lot.
Man, I didn't figure I could drive. It's not going to hurt.
So I mean, I just prayed because there were two people that were helping him, and that was just a total God thing too, because we don't have a major credit card, so we couldn't go out and rent a truck. But and then our other neighbor, one of our neighbors, has a dually truck, so he was going to help. Only thing, he has back issues, so he said normally if he drives 3 hours.
Right, so Friday was the rental truck.
Right.
Getting the small trailer.
But first, the testimony is that he was going to help us, but he kept speaking about his back issues because he has back issues, and he knows that if he goes out and drives for 3 hours, he's laid up in the bed.
You can feel it too. I mean, you run your finger down his back. You can tell. I mean, it's a bump where that disc is out of place. He's not kidding.
So we just kept speaking and praying over him concerning that.
Every time he said, "Oh no, I'm just going to be in pain within 2 hours," and we kept saying, "No." We're praying, and that God's going to bless your back, so that you're not going to deal with this, and God's going to bless your back for helping us. Yes, but that's the second trip.
Yeah, but this was what he was speaking ahead of time.
A month ahead of time.
Yeah, he kept speaking this ahead of time. So honestly, I kept wondering if he was going to cancel. And he said he said the day that he went with Donnie that he was going to cancel, but he woke up that day and he felt so good. So, but we just kept speaking over him and praying, and then we didn't know how we were going to get the other truck up or storage trailer, because the 36-foot one could be pulled by the dually, but the 24-foot one, we needed like at least a 1-ton or something. So.
And the other guy with the bad back was not going twice.
He was not going to go twice. He said, "I'm not going twice." I said, "I know that."
That was not an option to dually down there twice.
Yeah, we realized that, and we're not asking you to.
Yeah, we didn't even ask him.
And he was going to go with Donnie on Tuesday, but then he had a surprise visit from his daughter and grandchildren. So we said, we'll just postpone it because we weren't going to have him miss his family. And then
so he said Saturday would be good.
Another neighbor said, "I have a major credit card. I can go on this road trip with you," because he wanted to see someone anyway. Yeah,
there was someone in Georgia, a ministry down in Georgia, that is a food ministry, a food distribution ministry, and they've distributed millions of pounds of food. And he said they're even having a big change coming up with the FDA or something like that is being dissolved, or some kind of thing where major amounts of foods will not be available like it used to. I'm trying to remember the name of the ministry.
Mike's ministry?
No, well, Mike's is called Big Serve.
Big Serve.
Everybody keep track of that.
He's starting our neighbor.
They help the elderly and older people in the neighborhoods, and church or no church, they help them out.
We'll explain that more in a minute.
We can explain that some other time.
So he said, "I have a major credit card, so I can come help you and go on a road trip with you, and I can rent the truck." And then Donnie didn't know if they would take turns driving or what they would do.
Yeah, I said I could split the driving, and he was like.
He wanted to do the whole driving, but I prayed that they would feel good enough to do the drive, these other two guys, so that his hand could continue to heal. And I'll tell you what, Mike rented that truck, and they went and they got the first. Well,
we did 18 hours.
Yeah, they moved the big trailer just a few feet.
883 miles, and in 18 hours. We left at 8:30. Yeah, 8:30 in the morning, and we left the rental place at 9, about 8:35, 8:40, and 18 hours.
They moved the big trailer like a few feet or something so that it was ready for the second
we
guy
checked
Bill
the
to hook up.
brakes,
They checked it
made
over.
it ready to go, so that, because that's what you do. I mean, you make sure everything's right on a Friday when all the businesses are open that can help you. You know, don't wait till the last second to make sure you don't need another light bulb or something fixed. So we pulled the big trailer out of its rut, made sure all the lights were working, opened it up, and guess what? Both trailers were perfectly dry on the inside after 2 years. So kudos to Freedom Trailers and Wild Trailers. So we picked that one up, and then we grabbed the small one and hit the road, came back.
Well, yeah, they
I stepped in a cow pie. And I did film that. We'll see that. And
he'd got a little tiny bit of video.
I've got it on the camera, but now I've set the camera somewhere and can't find can't find the Samsung camera. So everybody pray we find the Samsung camera.
Pray with us that he finds my Samsung, because
what did I do with that camera?
I used that as a backup for my vlogging and stuff, and he has misplaced that. And I want to find that because I've got stuff on there that I need.
And I did go back to the rental agency and check the truck. It had not been rented since I had it. So it was absolutely sure it's not in there.
Hi, Spaceman Dudley. So, so
that was Friday and Saturday. We
Yeah.
left at 8 o'clock in the morning, got back at 2 in the morning,
and then
parked the trailer.
3 in the morning the next day. But I was, I stayed up, so I was tired.
So I got 3 hours sleep. I slept from 3 to 6. I got up at 6. I left at 7:15 and turned the truck back in at 8 o'clock. Then at 8 o'clock, and I broke the automatic release for the brakes. So on the way home from dropping off the truck, I stopped at Lazy Days and got a brand new brake. It's a thing where, you know, if your trailer comes unhooked from your truck, this little thing pulls out and puts the brakes on the trailer, so the trailer will come to a stop on its own. And that was broken, so I had to buy a new one. So got that done, got back, got the dogs fed, got the wife fed, got everybody else set so I could hit the road again, and then we left. Again, I forget, I think it was like 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, so Bill, then he said that his back was feeling, he was going to, that morning he was going to cancel the trip because he said he was afraid that his back would hurt so bad. But he said he woke up that day and it felt so good. His back felt no pain.
It was a rare morning where I had no pain.
Yeah. And he's had days, he said, where he literally crawled to the bathroom when he woke up. And that day it just was like zero pain. And then they drove almost all the way, they drove all the way there and almost all the way back before he ever felt any even little bit of pain in his back at all. So God,
well, I wouldn't say,
really
he didn't really say no pain at all, but it wasn't until that we were within an hour. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning before he said, I'm feeling it now. I'm ready to, I'm glad we've only got an hour to go. But the whole day he was testifying, you know, I was wrong. He said, and here was his greatest thing that he said. He said, I'm not talking over the last 14 years that I've gone more than 2 or 3. He says, when I say I can't go more than 2 hours driving or 3 before I'm in pain, I'm not talking, occasionally I could. He said, no, never. He says, I can't remember the last time that I have driven this more than 4 hours without just being bedridden. He said, this is amazing to me. It's a real miracle. He says, I appreciate how much you and your wife have been praying for me. This has been just amazing to me. And you know, we really had some good conversations too. We really did. We talked about some good stuff. And I talked about some stuff that needed to come out of me too, because he and I, we were arguing about how narcissistic we could be. and he says, no, I'm right, and you're wrong, and I'm right, and you're wrong, you know. So we had a lot of fun with that. And
yeah.
So but it
he
was
did
about
overcome. He overcame
it was
that
800
issue.
miles, and it was about $200, $200 in gas, And oh my goodness, the truck stops were 50 cents a gallon higher than the Sunoco's and the local diesel places. 50 cents. I was like, truck stops were $3.29, and the local places were $2.89. So I thought, what is that? 40 cents? Amazing. So be careful with that. So then we had a great time, great conversation. I took 2 naps on the second trip because I'd only had 3 hours sleep. And on the first
crawled
trip,
in the back seat. There was a back
well,
seat.
no, I actually leaned the front seat
Oh,
forward.
okay.
It was better to lean the front seat forward. I felt safer that way. I was still in my seatbelt and stuff.
Okay.
Yesterday, when we thought about stopping for a meal, I called the steakhouse and they had an hour wait just to sit down. So Mike and I, we got to go steakhouse, ribeyes, and oh, that was good. I'm telling you what, that steakhouse was good. So Texas Roadhouse, kudos to you. And then yesterday we stopped at Firehouse Subs, and they have mint chocolate chip cookies. They were really good. Really
He
good.
brought
I
one
brought
home and-
Yeah, I bought 2 extra because
And
I
said,
thought,
here, I have this cookie. Do you want to taste a bite of it? You can have the whole thing if you want, but if you don't want it.
yeah. I was like,
okay.
I should have only gave her a bite. But I said, well, taste it, see if you want it. And I was holding on to the other one, but I'd already had 2, but I would still be glad to eat it. But no, she said, oh.
It was really good.
It was, so Firehouse Subs was very good. And we had the beef brisket and the mint chocolate chip cookies and a drink. So we grabbed that on the way home. That's all we needed on the way home. And I took another nap. And Bill drove the whole way like a trooper. So we had a great time. Got in 3 o'clock in the morning, got to sleep about 4, and slept till 11 Sunday morning, from 4 to 11. So that caught up. And then today I took a nap in the middle of the day, at work, in my car. Oh, which is why I almost missed being live. I got home just in time.
Thankfully, the traffic wasn't
Yeah,
holding
no
you
traffic.
up either.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
So we did good. And it has been quite a week. Great testimonies, great conversation. I'll tell you, 18 hours in a car and you're awake the whole time. You will find things to talk about you don't usually talk about.
Yeah.
And I found there's a couple things about myself too, just that I need to forgive myself for some things. And, quit feeling like I'm last camel, And I've got a story called Last Camel. That's really good, and I'll just tell you, in camel trains, the last camel carries the garbage, and the last camel carries the laundry. The last camel has to walk through everybody else's droppings that have been dropping in front of them. So you don't want to be last camel, and but it's a really good story, and I look forward to sharing that with you sometime.
You have time.
Oh, I'm not going to tell it.
Oh.
Well, you know what that is? It's the what you call it, free music. I'd have to go off my phone to go to it, but it's the free music. I don't know. I hadn't really developed it.
Okay.
The whole
Well, you
understanding.
can do it
but,
later.
Well, yeah. But I know it, and I'm afraid I'll cry because it was like every time I think about it, I'm thinking Last Camel, poor guy, So, but okay, I'll set that up. We'll set that up, and we'll get a recording made because I don't know how well you could hear the music anyway. We want to do the music electronically so that you can hear, and we've never really tested anything like that to do. So we'll definitely get that together.
So today, because it's the live stream day and the campground doesn't have good internet, I was trying to think of where we could go live today, and I was thinking about maybe going somewhere out and about and going live, and then I was looking at the weather app, and it said the temperature was cold. He looked at it too. He was like, I don't know, it's kind of cold. And I thought, yeah, if it's cold, then I'd be out there going, and that wouldn't be very fun to be out streaming in that cold. So Tony had given us permission to come over here and use his condo.
I was working with red paint today, so if you see me on a big screen, it's red paint, not blood. Oh, let me tell you that story.
Wait a minute. Here's Spaceman Dudley said his wife had to stay. He took her to the ER Saturday to the closest hospital, but they were incompetent, so he took her 30 miles away where she got treatment. So we pray for your wife,
Thanks.
Spaceman Dudley. She's been having some issues for a while. I think it's her breathing. And I think they might have, I'm not sure, they might have
They
had
were
the,
incompetent.
yeah, they might have had the nasty mess.
Well, I went to the LeConte one
Hi, the funeral host.
on Middle Creek Road, and they were very, very good. Amazing group of people.
For
my fingers.
For his fingers.
And of course, I didn't know if I told you this or not, but
How many stitches?
I finally found I've got 19 stitches, 12 of them on one finger, 2 on the middle finger, and 6 on the outside, on the index finger. And it was, because as soon as the locals were in, I was able to watch them work. And it was amazing. I really liked seeing the inside of my fingers, and muscles and bones and everything was right there. And I even had a big old cyst on my finger that they were able to pull out, and that was nice to get that out of there, because that itself, I mean, on an elective surgery, that would have been $1,000 right there. So it's been a real blessing. That was a real blessing to get that cut. But honestly, you got to think too that I being able to watch them work, they took such care of scrubbing and cleaning, and putting it back together. It was a quilting party. I mean, it was not just one line. I mean, there were many places that had to be sewed together, to come together like a tulip almost, to bring things together, and it was extremely damaged. And I'm just amazed, and it's gone, well, and I've been changing my bandages, and they just did a great job, and I know that's part of the reason it's not hurting a lot, because they did not do a lot of painful things, as far as making it worse, but they scrubbed it good.
Well, and they said, I think we mentioned this before, but we'll mention it again. If you do have some sort of an injury, they said you do want the air.
They changed the rules.
Yeah, you do want the air to get to it. Mm-hmm. And they said you don't want to put ointments and creams on it or anything like that, because there can be bacteria in that.
And it's the bacteria grabs it and holds on to it. The dry air doesn't. Also, a lot of people, when they use the antibacterial, bacitracin or whatever you're using comes out of the tube clean, but you wipe it onto the gauze, and that whole rim of the bottle is not clean. And maybe what you're holding in your hand to apply it can actually do that. So, it was, isn't that something? It's like all these years where you're supposed to do all this ointment and all this wrapping, and now they're saying no. Loose bandages, let it dry, let it be out in the air, and just cushioned by loose gauze. And I was amazed. So
Kicking It Country Vlogs, thanks for coming in. They're gonna go pick up their son from b-ball practice.
Yep.
Yeah, and also he's been using. I bought one of the smart things I did years and years ago was I bought this machine called an ultrasound fife machine, and it was
that saved us thousands and thousands.
It was quite
and
pricey. I mean, it cost $1,800 at the time, but it was when we were doing. I had dog breeding puppy money, and so I used that. We used to breed schnauzers way back in the day. So,
hence the name Schnauzerhauser.
Yeah, my email. Anyway, so he's been using that because it helps. You have to be careful what you say. You have to be careful what you say, because you're not allowed to say certain things legally or whatever. But it actually,
the FDA
as
has
a
not
testimony.
approved this
as a testimony,
This machine.
I broke up a dog fight one time between one of our schnauzers and somebody else's dog,
Jack.
a Jack Russell dog that we were babysitting at the time for somebody who was out of town, going out of town, and we babysat their dog, and that dog attacked my dog, and I broke up the fight, and I got bit, and it started to swell up like a golf ball, and then I used that ultrasound on it, and the next day it started to, you could see that it started to get infected right away, but then it was gone. So I've done that a few times.
We recommend getting an ultrasound machine. We really do. Put it
Five.
on infections.
The 5 machine, yeah.
And put it on infections. Put it on your belly when your intestines don't feel right. We've used it on our chest when we had a cold, and the next day phlegm and stuff would come up, the green stuff would come up, and we would be over it.
Yeah, it helps to break up the stuff.
It uses your bones to conduct a sound through your body, and the sound disrupts unhealthy cells, but it doesn't hurt the good ones.
We used it when we actually thought that we had the nasty mess last
December.
He started getting it in December, and then through January, and then I started getting it in January into February, because he was actually working for an international contractor that was overseas working. He was with him and then went overseas working and then came back, and he was with him again, and that guy came back
and that guy
sick.
went down for a week.
He
I
came
couldn't
back
even go by the house
sick.
because he was so sick.
And then he got sick, and then I got sick, and we had symptoms of what the nasty mess is before they were on the news calling it
Before they even knew
what it is. But anyway, we used that ultrasound 5 machine on, our breathing, on our chest, on things like that, and it really helped.
Mm-hmm.
I also
For our
had,
throat, we put it right here.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if there are times when the weather's changing and it's, going into winter, fall, and, your body's used to the warm weather or whatever, and it starts to change and you start to get a little bit of a sore throat or whatever, then I'll put that ultrasound 5 machine on me at that point, and it'll help.
Yeah, use
You
it
know?
right when you first, Zantac or what was that? Where the first sign of a cold, you take stuff for a cold. You don't wait until you're full fledged.
It's I think it's called an ultrasound 5 machine, FIFE, and
Hey,
Andy,
you mean that life?
a guy had hi little Frenchie in Big Texas. A guy had we knew somebody that was making it and stuff. So then also, the other thing I used it on too.
I forgot what that story was.
The other thing I used it on as well was when we lived in Florida, when we moved out of the house into the RV, we dealt with mold. And I don't know if it was black mold or whatever, but it was black. It was very black looking, and it would be in all the vents on the ceiling in every room. And I was home. He was out working a lot, so I'm the one that started dealing with a cough, and I would cough and cough and cough. And after a while, I started getting these sharp pains in my forehead, right here, and in my eye. It almost felt like somebody was jabbing you with something extremely sharp, and it was
It's totally gone.
it was a constant thing for me, and then just a daily thing. And I would put that ultrasound 5 machine up here on my head, and there were times when it would hurt so much that I would wear one of those pirate patches over my eye. And then every now and then, even if I deal, sometimes if I turn my eye too much toward the right, then I will have a little bit of pain in my eye, and I'll put that pirate patch on, and it'll I'll just wear it for a little while, an hour or a few hours or whatever, rest my eye, and then it'll feel better again. But that ultrasound Fife machine, that really helped in prayer. Those two things just helped me to where I stopped having that stabbing pain in my eye.
I cannot remember the story I was going to tell. What were we talking about?
At the time, people kept telling me, you can write in the comments if you remember what story he was going to tell.
I didn't even get a chance to start it.
People kept speaking over me, the C
Love you, Connie.
the C word, the cancer word and stuff, and I kept saying, no, I do not have cancer. I was speaking against it. I kept speaking against it. No.
Tell her about the person at the church.
And yeah, somebody even we went to a meeting where our pastor from Florida, after we moved here to Tennessee, and he was coming up to minister at a church, and one of his rules is that you're not allowed to touch someone and pray for someone or anything unless you're part of their ministry team, because they want to know who is praying for someone. And this lady kept coming up to me, not listening to that, and she kept coming up to me saying, can I pray for you? Can I pray for you? And I said, no, it's not allowed. It's not allowed. And then she turned to her son, her teenage son, and she just pointed at me and she said to him, she has cancer and we just pray that it's gone from her. And I just thought, really? She's speaking that. So I went up to one of the assistant pastors that for our church that was with our pastor, and I told him what that lady said, and he said, we rebuke that in the name of Jesus. She's trying to speak something over you, and she was out of line anyway when this is what we said in the service. Don't pray for someone unless we know you, because that's their thing, and I understand it. They're being protective over people, so. But anyway, that was something, and I just used these different things and these natural things to protect my body. And I would encourage you, if somebody speaks something negative over you like that, over your health or whatever, there's a lot of different. Don't accept it.
Don't sign for the package.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can do naturally, with natural medicine, with diet, with all kinds of things to help your body to be healthier, and to overcome certain things. Even honestly, there's a guy, if you look up knowthecause.com, he wrote a book, and that he's been helping people that have diabetes issues and cancer issues.
Doug Kaufman.
Yeah, just by diet and things like that, where he has helped them to turn those diagnoses around, where the diabetes, just by changing their diet and stop eating grains and things like that. And the same thing with cancers, not eating grains.
Or swelling, pain, joints, absolutely.
Because grains turn to sugar.
Antifungal.
Grains turn to sugar, and when you eat grains, that is a sugar problem in your body. If you have any kind of an issue, then that becomes a sugar problem. Eating the grains, eating corn. Corn is a grain. Corn is not a vegetable. It's a grain. Yeah, and it turns to sugar. Yeah, Nate, Land Cloud Adventure. Some people have no boundaries, and I was being obedient to what the ministers of that particular meeting asked for in the meeting, and that lady did not respect any kind of boundaries whatsoever.
And if you need a reference for that, Matthew chapter 6, verse 26 and verse 31, it says, take no thought saying what you shall wear, or what you shall put on, or what you'll eat. But the key is not about wearing or eating or anything else like it said, take no thought. Well, that word take is the same word that you would do, and when the UPS man comes to the door and has a box for you and says, sign here to receive this. And you sign it and you take it. So when it says in the Bible, take no thought, it means don't sign for it. Because your thought has no value, it has no power. But if you take it and you sign for it, then it comes in and has authority. So when somebody says something over you, I'm like, I'm not taking that. And don't feel bad about hurting their feelings, because you know what most people do when you say that? They go, yeah, you're right, that's not a good thing to say. But they are, it's ignorance, it's just ignorance. So, hey, there's your scripture for the day. And take no thought. Take nobody's suggestion.
Virginia said she has the same chair yeah, I love those rockers. I think they're really, really nice.
Terrible finish on them, though. I'm going to have to redo them. Scratch them up and put the right thing on there.
Yeah, Donnie has been taking, Adventures of Scott and Michelle said, taking echinacea and apple cider vinegar when not feeling well and limiting carbs in your diet is how Scott and Michelle stay healthy. And Donnie
I do this
does the
vinegar pills.
for blood pressure. It helps.
Yeah, it's good to take them for so many things.
Yeah.
We had a customer that was 96 years old. Oh yeah, and he was like, oh, every day 2 teaspoons of vinegar, my mama told me, and now I'm 96 years old, And he still had all his teeth and everything, so, he was a healthy guy,